Kitty abandoned his post. Greetings, everybody. Good thing I was all set up and ready to go. Do I have my title up? I think I do. Yes, I do have my title up. Well, welcome back to another live stream. This is my test. I'm going to do this for about a month, see what happens. So this is mostly unplanned. I kind of had something I wanted to chat about for a little bit. We'll hang out for a while. I have a few hours at least. I'd say 2 hours at least. So if the conversation gets that interesting, we'll stick around for a while. But this is just kind of more reminiscence, philosophy, maybe ramblings of an old guy. Who knows? I know I'm not that old, but I'm actually older than a lot of people might think. So today we're going to be talking about easy or best. And somebody had said something in the live stream yesterday that kind of prompted this, so I kind of wrote it down and jotted down 1 or 2 sentences and grabbed a few props over here and we'll kind of dive into this. So before we get into that, let's go ahead and check in with the comments. Isaiah Briggs, hello there. Integer, low. Keegan, good afternoon. And Pierce says Pearson. I'm going to call that Pearson. It looks like Pearson. But hello, how's it going there? Keegan, kitty alert. Yeah, the kitty only was with us for a short period of time. He's just like, I'm out of here, yo. The other window's far more exciting. Oh, well. He hung out there for the intro. Why not? Cool War Boy, how's it going there, sir? Analog, just finished watching the homicidal Tesla cars. Well, thank you. All right, Talora, how's it going there? Greetings. And from Portugal, hello there. Mikey, how's it going there? Easy or best? Easy. Bye. LOL. Just kidding. But it's an interesting conversation, and that's the thing we want to do. We want to have a conversation. When we do another Our Walk in Christ live stream, I do those Thursdays for now. Maybe I'll add another one down the road. But for now, I do those Thursdays, 9 o'clock Eastern time, just because of the vast amount of other things I always need to take care of. So, I mean, I do this channel, that channel. In theory, I do a third channel, but I haven't posted anything on there for like almost 2 months now. And then, you know, that pesky work stuff gets in my way, and then other things like, you know, like cleaning the house and taking a few minutes off and a bunch of reading. So yeah, I'll get to it when I get to it. Gibranaup, greetings. I probably slaughtered that. And clockin, I don't know. Hi. Greetings. I can't pronounce that. All right, so easy or best. And I think one of the things that really prompted this conversation is there's a whole lot in our current life and world and time that is just, you know, we come up with all these little things about innovation, about, you know, this is a time-saving thing. Of course, the entire thing with the unlocking screens is how much time it saves because we open our smartphones 200 times a day. Well, maybe that should be a concerning thing enough. And, you know, if you can just take off a second, then you will have saved a second times 200, and, you know, that's several minutes by the end. One of the things I think that really prompted me thinking about this almost 2 or 3 weeks ago now is we are working on the building a bridge to the 18th century outdoor philosophy, and the next one, I think it is the next one, is where we're going to be hitting the technology section. And that's the one I really enjoyed the most because he really talks about all this technology under the guise of all this technology is for us to, you know, the ultimate solution they're always preaching to us is how much time we can save. And then he addresses this question, well, what do we do with all this time saved? Probably watch TV. And understand that Neil Postman was writing at a time when technology was starting to move so fast, the computer industry was coming around, and we were sitting here saying, we're getting up with all these technologies, it's going to save us all this time, we're going to release the people to have a better and easier life, and we didn't. In fact, our lifestyle, I mean, there are a lot of comparative studies, and there are a lot of comparative studies that say we are a lot better off now than we were. But there's also a lot of comparative studies that look at the basic quality of life. For sure, we have a whole lot less disease. Our sanitation has helped tremendously. I was talking quite a bit about the internet yesterday, which the internet has brought information to us. I mean, I'm learning things right now that I would have to have gone to school or go buy costly books just watching videos online. And so the internet is a great thing, but at the same time, while we do have lower disease, while we have easier access to information, more people are in poverty type levels. More people now, granted, a lot of it is misbehavior. There's a lot of it that is misbehavior. People getting credit cards and then going up and charging up a lot of stuff, people getting expensive car payments, people buying more car than they can afford, people buying more house than they can afford, people buying more crap than they can afford. And that's why I'm a minimalist. I know this room doesn't look like it, but I promise this is the only room in this house that actually looks lived in. It's kind of funny. But the reality is there are a lot of things that technology has hurt us going forward, and we are constantly pushed in this direction to pull up all these things that are time-saving devices. And the most hilarious thing, and you'll hear this comment in the Outdoor Philosophy tomorrow, but he's talking about Bill Gates and how Bill Gates just is this perpetual dreamer of all these technologies, and then he gets down to that final end there, and he says, you know, we're talking about building devices that could save us time. And he says, just think of a device that you could simply say to it, Frank Sinatra, and it plays Frank Sinatra or something else, or Spice Girls, and it plays Spice Girls. I'm like, Neil Postman is such a prophet, because that's what we have now. Okay, Google, play Spice Girls. My apologies to anyone who's now listening to Two Become One. I wouldn't wish that on anyone. But that's the thing, right? That's really the thing is, as we live out our life, we are becoming to get all of these things that becomes, and it's not necessarily becoming the time saving, it's becoming this path of least resistance. Of course, C.S. Lewis noted in his wonderful Screwtape Letters, the easiest road to hell is soft underfoot, steadily downwind without guideposts or milestones. Okay, remember, C.S. Lewis is writing in the book Screwtape Letters, which is a kind of like his fictional take of a greater demon teaching a lesser demon and how to make mankind fall. Okay, so he's giving him the advice, what does it take to bring a person down? It takes an easy path, a simple path, a path without resistance, a path without problems. But the problem is we are in this society. So I grabbed some props here. And I remember as much as even a decade ago, because I think it was a decade ago I originally moved out of Pennsylvania. I took over the department at a chemistry program at a college, and I did that for just a couple of years before I started my own businesses and working for myself. But I remember that, and it was right about a decade ago. In fact, it was 10 years ago this summer when I packed up everything that I had in Pennsylvania and I moved out west. Me, myself, and a cat. And remember those times you might go out for a hike or out and about, and you might want to take some pictures, so you'd have a camera. And of course, initially we had cameras that, you'd even have to snap it and take the film and develop it. And I still have some photographs from those days. Of course, the digital cameras came out a little over a decade ago, maybe a decade and a half ago is when they were really becoming mainstream. I got my first digital camera ever. I think I got in 2002 maybe, and it was a 2 megapixel camera, but I love that thing. In fact, I had it until, I think I had that thing for like 8 years. It was a beast. I finally traded up, and so, now you go out and you get a digital camera. And what you do, and I remember those days, now this was me, and other people may or may not be like this, but you'd go out, you'd snap your photos for the day, and I remember the biggest instance for me is I was a geocacher. I was one of the top geocachers in my state. And so I would go out and I do a lot of photos, took beautiful landscape pictures and photos. You can see some of those pictures and some of the things that I do. And then I'd come home at night, and I'd take about a half hour, and I'd pull all the pictures off. I'd sort them neatly into folders in my computer, and I'd even drop them onto a folder called Backup, and then once a month I'd back those files up onto another system. And then you'd clear out the camera, and then you'd set your camera aside, and your camera was ready to go for the next time. Now, you might like taking a walk and listening to something, and of course, I do remember the times of cassette tapes, and CD players, like portable CD players, and they were bad days. I mean, a portable CD player on good batteries would last 2 CDs before you had to replace the batteries. Cassette tapes, they lasted quite a bit longer, but still, I mean, it wasn't a real good audio format. And then I remember when MP3s came out. And when MP3s first came out, the technology wasn't there. It literally took 5 or 6 hours to rip the stuff off of your disc. And then then you'd have to run it through a DOS program to tag everything. And it was complicated, but I took the time and invested the time to take at least a quarter of my CDs, and I actually was so advanced in college, I had a bunch of my CDs on zip disks. Remember zip disks? 100 megabyte floppy disks. And I actually had a little iOmega zip drive there in my little computer, and so I didn't have to bring all these CDs to college. I didn't have all this stuff. It was, looking back, I was kind of like a minimalist even then, because I looked at, and I didn't call myself that, I didn't really think about that, but I never really lived with more stuff than I needed, and that really is the core of it. What are the things that have value and necessity to your life? That's ultimately minimalism. It's not the amount of stuff, it's what the stuff you have. And I remember in those times, I'd go in and I'd walk by. Now, I only lived on college for 2 years. I was actually paid to be a tutor on campus. So they gave me a free room, and they gave me 10 hours a week pay to be available to tutor students in the dorms. So that was the role that I had there, because I was a geek. I mean, I'm a geek, dude. Math is fun. I ain't no Barbie. So I'd be walking through the dorms, and I'd see people bringing so many things, like U-Hauls of things. Now, understand, this isn't nowadays where when you go to college and your dorm is like a luxurious apartment. These are rooms that were smaller than this office that 2 people lived in. They were concrete. We had a bed up here. Now they gave us advanced stuff. We had like a bunk bed type thing where we had our bed on the top, a desk underneath it. We had a big wardrobe here and a dresser. That's all what we had. And 2 people had these. All right, 2 people per room, and you shared a communal bathroom. Okay, that's what college dormitories used to be. So picture this. 2 people each bringing a U-Haul of stuff, decking out their whole dorm rooms, and it's just like, why all this crap? I'd come in, I had a little computer. I'm trying to think, did I have a laptop at that time? I may have had a laptop at that time. I just can't remember for sure. I think I had 2 laptops around that period of time. I think actually I did. I had the laptop, I had the iOmega drive with the zip disks, and I had 2 little speakers, and that was it. That was it. I mean, and I had, of course, just the couple books I had and less than a week's worth of clothes. Maybe about a week's worth of clothes. I'd wash the clothes once a week. And so I lived with very little, and people were like, they'd come in and it's like, doesn't look like anybody lives here. I'm like, so? I don't care. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if anyone's living here or not, you know? But in those days, you might want to take a walk. And so with CDs, cassette tape players, even with the portable CDs, you generally would still portably listen to tape players. They're a lot smaller, a lot easier to use, batteries last a lot longer. But MP3 technology came out, and then it brought rise to MP3 players. Now, the first ones I remember were Arcos brand, and then Creative came on before iPod really revolutionized it. But you had your MP3s, and so, of course, I had my little MP3 player, which is an offline, no internet connectivity. It's got an SD card over here. I can plug it in. It has 8 gigabytes of internal memory, expandable. I don't know how big the SD card can get. This thing will last 18, 20 hours on a charge. So you can plug this guy in, no tracking, no wireless technology, none of that other jazzy stuff. You carry this with you. You take a nice little walk. You're not going to be bothered by a ringing phone. You're not going to be tracked. You're going to be whatever. So we'd have an MP3 player. And you'd get your MP3s, you'd put it on there. Now, of course, podcasting came out around that time, so it could become slightly more inconvenient. Maybe you just got to plug this guy in and add a file here or there. So you had that. And, of course, we had photos. And, of course, the original way to do photos is we had photo albums with our memories. And so you had your photo albums. And you had all of these different things we'd take, and then we'd go through and we'd, of course, with our pictures, we would talk about our cameras. Of course, as a geocacher, we had a separate GPS. Of course, those were the days when we had to go out, get the geocache, come home, log into the computer, and log the geocache. Oh, how painful. With these new smartphones, do it all. And that's the problem. We have adopted a path of least resistance. We've adopted the easy way to have one device. Ask yourself, are your photographs more organized now or then? How about your music files? More organized now or then? All of the things that we like to live on. Do you even have a good backup of your data? An offline backup that no crypto guy is going to encrypt all of your data with a virus? Do you have offline access to your important memories or the songs that you like? Are you following the path of least resistance? Or are you doing the better thing? Which sometimes the better thing is letting the technology do its thing. Sometimes the better thing is to manually do things. And it made me think of this quote from Dave Ramsey when he says mostly about finances and debt, but it applies to all areas of our life. A child does what feels good. An adult devises a plan and follows it. So as we're thinking about easy or best, are you doing the path of least resistance? Are you letting the technology do everything and you're full of space and so you gotta buy cloud service and you sync all your stuff to the cloud and you just think, I don't need to worry about anything because the cloud? Or are you to the point where you actually have taken control of the things in your life? Your photos, your music, your video files, your life. Because I think back to those days before I had moved and everything in my life was under so much more control. And it was when smartphones entered my life that control started to slip away. Because too much emphasis got placed on what was easy. It's just too easy to let this do everything and slip it in our pocket. And then we lost control of ourselves. We've lost control of each other. We've lost control of our families because we've lost intentionality. So the next big device that comes down, which is promising to save you time or make it easier, that making it easier is taking away. Because remember, we struggle. If you do any farming, if you do any growing, planting, gardening, you know if you take plants and you bring them inside and they don't have wind, they will be very weak and very brittle in the stem. But if you take those little seedlings and you put them outside and it's windy and the wind is blowing against them, they grow strong. They grow strong. This is why the Bible tells us that consider it joy when we encounter various trials, because those trials will make us strong. They strengthen us. All of these intentional things make us stronger. And when we give up to the technologies, to what is easy, the path of least resistance, we give up a part of who we are and what we are. So what do you think? Oh boy, let's see. What's the live all about? What is easy or what is best? Talking about the progression, the change of technology, and how it impacted us. Probably not for the best. Isaiah Briggs wants a house tour. Okay, iPhone, play Spice Girls. Ew. Yeah, I put my friend through that torture last week. Noby Roger, greetings. Hey, Political Monkey, how's it going there? What am I talking about? I'm talking about whether it's easy, whether the easy is really the best way to do things. That's right. Google Photos offers free unlimited storage for pictures and videos. The problem is if it's Google. Yeah. No, the problem is the people accepting what Google offers as a valid solution. That's true. And that's the thing. I've never used that service. In fact, I accidentally turned that on on one of my phones once. It was quite by accident. I'm like, oh, no, I don't want to give Google all my pictures. Close that out quite quickly. I mean, I can do some of that stuff through my Nextcloud, but even my Nextcloud, I still don't use for anything like that. I don't want to put stuff like that on the cloud. I don't. Even if it's my own personal end-to-end encrypted Nextcloud install. I don't want to. Holy, Tom's a good preacher. Well, thank you. Yeah, actually, I do a Christian channel, though, too, Mel, if you are unaware, at Our Walk in Christ. And I have some good sermons. And actually, you guys that did watch the Christian live stream where I was talking about these sermons, I did make all of those available for download on their respective pages. So if you can't get that player to play, you can download them as just downloadable files. People just blindly accepting their fate. Indeed. Hello, Gail. How's it going there? Hey, Saddle Ridge. How's it going there? Surprised me with this live stream. Caught you, though. Yep. All right. I'm thinking about getting a Nokia E7. So, right, sometimes we'll sell our souls too easy. That's right. Hello, everyone. Right? Did you sell your soul too easy? Did you? He's like, yep. I sold my soul for a kitty treat. Use Google, don't care. All right. Okay. People need to stop being sheeple without thinking. You need to understand what the consequences are when you tap I agree. That's right. And that's true. If you understand the consequences and you still want to use Google, if you've read the terms and you understand what they're doing with all that data and you say that's an acceptable risk for me, all the power to you. The sad reality is most people do not understand the consequences. They've never read the terms and conditions. They've never read the privacy policies. And that's where the problem comes in, is when people are just ignorant of what the results are. But if you've read it and you understand the risks and you've chosen to use it, that's fine. It's a service that does do good things for people, you know. It's times very well, Tom. You had was the most luxurious for us, but who did use that stuff? There were always one friend that had more control. Yep. Stones STL/Our Walk in Christ. Are these new phones satanic? Anymore? I'm thinking so. Fat cat. Fat cat. Fat cat. Actually, he's just very large framed. He is actually quite large framed. A friend of mine who sees the cat all the time didn't even realize how much until I put the cat on him last week. He's like, wow, that cat is huge. And it's not fat. He has a really big bone structure. It's kind of funny. But just planted corn, pole bean, and pumpkins and did the hard way. Yep, there you go. Non-GMO. Awesome. I use DuckDuckGo to search. Very good. That's a good one to use. I use StartPage personally, but DuckDuckGo, the only reason I haven't used DuckDuckGo is I hated their theming. But that's actually come a long way. So if I wasn't already entrenched in StartPage and if StartPage didn't do exactly what I wanted, I'd probably switch to DuckDuckGo, but I don't see a reason to. Apps other than Google never accept. Sometimes doing what is best makes it easier in the long run. It does, and that's what I'm realizing right now. I'm gonna put a note right there in the comment because that's a great one to go back on. That's what I realized, is that although it was more organization on the front end, I haven't done that detail of cleaning up in that whole decade. It's been about 8 years. And I'm looking back over it, and my files for the last 8 years are a giant mess. It's going to take me a long time to finally minimize all of my digital data files and put my entire plan 100% into place, because it's hard. It's hard because it's crazy how difficult it actually is to get things going. But then once you get it rolling, it brings so much peace. It's the same thing when I got rid of a lot of stuff, because you accumulate junk over the years. And I looked at how much junk I had accumulated. I'm like, I just got to get rid of some of this junk. And so in getting rid of some of that junk, I finally looked at it all and I said, you know what? Just get rid of stuff, and you don't realize how freeing it is when you get rid of all that crap. You get rid of all that junk. You get rid of all that crap. It is so freeing. So freeing. And that's something to keep in mind. It's freeing. Google Store you talk about. All right. Okay, started using SpiderOak for cloud backups because they're mostly open source, private, and I can get 2 terabytes for $12 a month. A better deal than most corporates options, and you can't host. Okay, yeah. That's not bad. It's pretty good. She puts a privacy warning when you click on a YouTube video for the first time. Can't host your own server yet. I mean, I don't even host my own servers in my office. I would have the technical capabilities. The problem is I don't want to have anything exposed to the outer internet. And so literally that's what I do. What I could do is just have it accessible on the VPN, but I don't actually run the VPN all the time. You can't get into my outside office unless I specifically turn on the VPN. And I don't keep it on as a regular habit. So that's why I mean, but as a web designer and I host people's websites for them, you know, my clients essentially pay for my hosting space times 3 or 4. So GMOs are good and reduce world starvation. Well, there's a lot of discussion. There is certainly some pros on GMOs, and there is actually a lot of negatives on GMOs as well. The thing, okay, if they open sourced GMOs, I'd be a whole lot better with them. But this whole idea of Monsanto owning the patents for plants is so redonkulous, because what happens is, you know, some farmer 5 miles down the road plants Monsanto's GMO crap. The bees pollinate your plants with it. Now your plants that you didn't intend to are now licensed property of Monsanto, and they come and steal your farm from you because the farmer 5 miles down the road. That's got to stop. And when that stops, I'll think about looking at GMOs with a little bit more positive light. But as long as corporations are patenting and putting trademarks on GMOs, no, not at all. These are God's plants, not Monsanto's plants. And I disagree that GMOs necessarily reduce world starvation. There's arguments could be made for it, but the amount of destruction done to small family farmers due to the GMOs is massive, and it needs to stop. RSPCA knocking on my door. Someone reporting my dog too thin. Yeah, I could say something about that, but I don't want to say that publicly. All right, I use 3 different browsers and Tor. There you go. Tails is good, yeah. Use start page for search and all my backups to local drives. I avoid cloud like the plague. Yeah, and the funny thing is, like, these guys here are down to like $50. This is a 2 terabyte external storage drive. This was actually going to be used for all my video stuff when I get all my ducks in a row. My DuckDuckGoes in a rows. Each successive generation of their heirloom. Remember your soil conditions and adapts and gets better. Huh. Ask yourself, have you touched this in 1 to 2 years? If not, gone. That's the thing. Like I get this funny story about this trumpet, right? I played trumpet in high school. I mean, just up until 10th grade, I stopped playing trumpet. I carried this trumpet from my house in the one place. We moved to another city. Then I moved to State College. Then I moved out, 3 or 4 different, no, let's see. I think I lived 3 different places in State College. Then I moved out west. Then I moved back here into a second apartment back here. I have carried this trumpet to 10 different houses and never touched it. It's time to throw the stupid thing away. You know, get rid of stuff. Get rid of stuff. Left Facebook years ago. Sarah's considered buying an 8 terabyte drive on Amazon. I'm interested in backups and saving that monthly fee. The thing, I would ask yourself, I would probably not do an 8 terabyte. It's probably better in the long haul to do a couple of 2 terabyte, depending on what type of files you have. I'm getting into video production a lot, and this is the first 2 terabyte drive I got. The problem with getting something that's like 8 terabytes is if that drive fails, you've lost 8 terabytes worth of data. But if you split that over into a bunch of 2 terabyte drives, like 4 2 terabyte drives, one drive failure doesn't mean catastrophic failure for everything. And so that's one of the things to keep in mind with these larger drives coming out. Also sign confidential agreements when you sign up for your ISP, so there's no way to get away from it. One way is zero internet. Yep. I think Bayer is buying Monsanto and changing the name. Oh boy, that's exciting. Every phone we buy have Google. Can't remove Google from the mobile phone. That is incorrect. See, okay, now there's two things about Google. With where it comes down to Android, there are Google services in Android that connect to Google, but there are things in Android that don't make any connections to Google at all. You could get a phone OS like Copperhead, Lineage, numerous other open source ones that don't have any of those hidden connections to Google, and you can put those on your phones. Lineage is not my favorite. They've done some things I don't like, but it has the widest overall support. Copperhead is the best if you can get one of the devices for the support. And then there's a few other ones. There's even one phone that is recommended by the Free Software Foundation. These are phones that don't make those connections to Google. You don't have to use the Play Store. You can use F-Droid. You can find open source replacements for any things that you need. And this is why I don't have dependence and reliance on apps. I use my phone pretty much for internet, and internet when I'm not in the office. I don't really use a smartphone for anything else. And so it begs this fascinating question: when net neutrality finally dies, which I think the final nail is going to be in the coffin on Monday, after Congress either doesn't vote or doesn't care, we're going to start to see a reversion back to 2012 when you will have to end up paying extra for the mobile hotspot capability on your smartphone. And when that occurs, I'm dropping the smartphone altogether. I'm going back to a dumb flip phone, and I'll just do a prepaid wireless hotspot and just add money to it as I need it. Because the reality is I could do better with with a small tablet and a MiFi. It doesn't give me instant access to the internet as well as having the phone with me does. But I can wait a minute to get online if it's important to check something when I'm on the road. That's going to be a better option, I think, if all of this changes and goes back, because that's really what it was. The first smartphone I had perfect capabilities of mobile hotspot sharing, but Verizon blocked my ability to do that because net neutrality rules were not yet in place. That was one of the instances that pushed those net neutrality rules into place. So yeah, you can remove Google from the smartphones. What is a good option for storing photos on Nextcloud, block storage, or object? I have not tried either of those because, again, I don't even use all those options. But, excuse me, hold on a second. Cat's being excessively loud. All right. Yeah, I haven't looked at those specific options. I know on mine, well, I'll use this phone. This is just my iPhone that's not even turned on. It doesn't actually, this is the best iPhone in the world because the cellular antenna is broken, so it can't connect to services. But it still works for everything else. It's awesome. Actually, I don't think the headphone jack works well anymore either. But I can play stuff. I actually use it and play music when I'm just a little portable music player around my house. But what you can do on Nextcloud is you can just set certain folders to sync to the cloud. So if I'm on my Nextcloud build here and I have it set to sync, any photos or my gallery, it's going to take any photos in there anytime it syncs and push those up. As far as the other options, I really haven't looked into those, and so I don't have much of an opinion. And a lot of it's just because I don't use Nextcloud for a photo backup. I use offline storage for that. You do a 3x2, 3 terabyte drives on an offsite bank. Yeah, that's a good option. That's what I would probably do. My Open Media Vault is 2 mirrored hard drives. So if one fails, there's a backup drive, so I don't lose data. And then, of course, that gets backed up to a complete offline drive once a month. 2 terabytes would mostly hold 400 gigabytes of game ROMs and emulator files. Okay. So you have a lot of need. All right. In Europe, I don't see this mobile phones. Well, check Lineage OS, and they will have the comprehensive list. There are a ton of European phones that have Lineage capabilities. I miss payphone booths and landlines. Yeah. Only reason I have a smartphone is for work. Email. Yep. Do you have net neutrality in UK? Because if it's still there, we should all go there. Net neutrality is not enough to make me move to UK. No. No. Pixel 2L and love it. Good. I'm streaming today. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, net neutrality is not enough to get me to go to UK. There's too many other crazy, scary things on over there. All right, let's see. Is there anything else we want to chat about on this topic? Let me see if there's anything else. I mean, I guess we can talk about books, I guess. Simplicity of books, that's something I didn't mention. Of course, you can get DRM-free digital books, but a lot of our books aren't. And that's the unfortunate thing where books are even going in the direction of music files, you know. They couldn't get away with DRMing music files. They realized they've lost that battle, so now nobody owns your music files anymore. We just pay $12.99 perpetually for the rest of our life for streaming capabilities. The problem is, though, if your favorite band has an agreement or disagreement with the streaming company or the producers or the music publishing companies, you could lose your favorite band, and that's the downside. And that's why you want to have your files. So I have all of my CDs and things all on digital files. They're actually plugged directly into my Raspberry Pi Open Media Vault, or not Open Media Vault, Open Source Media Center. So from my phone, that's plugged into my stereo system. Of course, I don't leave it plugged in all the time, but I can just go into the phone and push the button and play music at will, and everything is there. So those are all neat and good options, really. So books are the same way. Of course, I love my books. I got my geek library behind me. I got my theology library over there, and so that's kind of the direction we look to is simplify things. Of course, I like the idea of having the digital books better. I just wish there were more options for DRM-free versions of books, because a lot of the books I'd want to read, the publishers just don't realize DRM-free, and it's not necessarily that they're trying to protect themselves. I think a lot of it's just ignorance. It's the same thing when I publish my books on Amazon on Kindle. You have the option to go into their whole promotion thing. They'll promote your book more. In theory, you might make a little bit more. But you have to agree to DRM lock your book, and you have to agree to sell it exclusively on Amazon. And I'm not willing to do that. I want you to buy my book, whether it's a print copy or a digital copy. I want you to buy my book and own it. That way, if you get fed up with Amazon and you're like, all right, I find Amazon too unscrupulous, I'm going away from Amazon, at least you have my book. You can take it with you to any e-reader that you want. And that's the direction we should go in. So 360 gigabytes of this is Nintendo GameCubes. Huh, cool. Can you look at GitHub alternatives? I don't know if I'm going to, and the reason is I don't use GitHub. I wouldn't be able to recognize what a good GitHub alternative is. Apparently, you can self-host GitLab, and there's another one, GOG. I forget what it's an acronym for. In theory, there's those two things which you can self-host your options. But as far as those, I love the idea, but I'd want to pass it off to somebody who actually knows more about those things, because I don't. Surprised how expensive audiobooks are. Audiobooks are actually very expensive to produce, and that's part of the problem, I think. I want to buy ebooks, but not sure where to buy them. Eric, that's a great question. Let me see, do I have Calibri on here or not? I don't. Let me boot up a virtual machine, and we will install Calibri, and I'll show you what you can do with ebooks. By the way, I installed KDE on Linux Mint 19. I will do a video about that. I'm going to give that a week or two before I do that video, because everything I've done Linux related in the last week has been Linux Mint. So I want to give Linux Mint a little break. Then I'm going to come back on and we'll do Linux, how to install KDE on Linux Mint 19, because unfortunately it's not the option anymore. But it seems to work nice. Gotta get this guy booted up. Hey, it's booting right into KDE. All right. Where's my desktop view with camera? All right, here we are. Linux Mint, KDE. All right. I gotta fix the, do have to fix the desktop though. I gotta remember, oh, it's not there, it's in my settings. System settings. Just gotta remember where this setting is. Display, there we are. Not sure why it's not giving me my option to go full screen here. I am forgetting. It's been a while since I've been on KDE. Maybe I'm just forgetting where it is. Anyone help me out with that in the comments? Half the time I boot this particular virtual machine up, it boots into full screen. Half the time it doesn't. Colors, fonts, desktop behavior. I just can't remember exactly where to change my configuration in KDE for my desktop displays. Maybe I don't care. Thought it was under Configure Desktop. Mouse location, icons. You know what? I'm just gonna go over to Cinnamon because I can remember I want to go into full screen. Log out. I just can't remember where that setting is. It's possible it's actually not there right now because there's some configuration settings that need changed. See, now it's going into full screen for me. All right. Okay, so on Linux, I think this is a cross-platform application, but you want to install Calibri. So we're going to go ahead and install Calibri. Oh, yeah, I guess I could have done that in Terminal. One of the challenges is installing KDE on Linux Mint is it did not actually, some of the system applications didn't come with it because I think the build was looking to install all the KDE applications, but it never brought those along with them, which was actually okay with me because it meant I'd have less system bloat. But it didn't know how to find the terminal, so I had to manually program it in. All right, so now we have Calibri installed. We're going to go ahead and launch it up. So this is an ebook management library. So I'm going to go ahead and finish that up, starting that out. So here is Calibri. And so what you can actually do is you can hit this Get Books button up here. And there's a series of, here's the series of places where it will grab books from. Okay. So there's a lot of different places. I'm going to turn off the ones that are in my foreign languages. Project Gutenberg's good, so that'll have old books. There's Google Books is there. I like turning off FeedBooks because what FeedBooks has done something really stupid where they'll say, like, oh, DRM free copy of a book, you'll download it and it's not the whole book. It's like a promotional thing to get you to buy something else. It's really annoying, so I like turning that one off. I'm just going to turn off some of the stores just so I don't have too many things. All right, so now you search by a book, right? So let's search by, we can search by an author. So if you go ahead and search an author, so this is my books, of course. So here is where you can pick up my books. So this unlocked, this guy here means it's unlocked. So this is my book here from, this is Amazon Kindle. That should be unlocked. Got to give it a second. It's still populating stuff. Okay, so you can see this is from Amazon Kindle. You can buy it over there. You can see this is locked. This is one of the reasons I'm republishing this book under my own name, because I don't have control over this. This is mine. You can buy this from Kindle. It is unlocked, so there's no DRM. So in theory, you can buy this, attach it to your Calibri library, and extract it out from other things. I want that unlocked, but I don't have a choice because of where the current publisher is. So there's my other one. You can buy that one unlocked. This is the UK version. So this is your price here. Buying it from Google, it's unknown if it's DRM locked. It probably is my guess. You can buy it from Kobo. So that's what you can do to buy books, is you can sort through here, and you can actually sort. So if you're looking for a specific book, I think I mentioned Screwtape Letters by C.S. Lewis. So I can search for that, and that should hopefully find some of those. So here's C.S. Lewis, Screwtape Letters. Most of these are probably going to be DRM locked books, is my guess. If it's unknown, you might just have to click on the link and follow that and see. So this is from archive.org. Huh. I didn't know that those were open source available. I'm going to have to see if those are the complete books or not. So this one here, this is from Amazon Kindle. This is a DRM free version. This is from Amazon Kindle, a DRM locked version. And so I'd buy this one because a DRM free version means I kind of own it. DRM locked ones, I don't own it. So this is one of the best places you can go. So this one here, in fact, I can just go ahead. These free ones you should just be able to click and download directly. The other ones, so like this one here, this is a DRM. This is from Lewis Carroll. This looks like Alice in Wonderland. I'm not sure what language that is. But you buy it, and it's DRM. And I have no problem with buying a DRM free book as long as I have the option. I think it's still searching, so it's not giving me that option to grab things. So these guys here are unknown. So this is one place. I'm still trying to grab this one. There you go. So now that's been added to my library. Since those ones are free, you can just add them right to your library. Here's a theology collection. This is from Canada. These ones from Kindle, it will, if you double click those, it's going to open this up. It's going to go to that place. You'd have to log in. Of course, that said it was free, but it's not. It's 99 cents. As long as it's DRM free, though, that's okay. So that's kind of that's one thing I would do to look for books. Of course, there's other places. You just want to double check if you can. If you have the option to get the DRM free, that's always the better option. So here is Screwtape Letters. Let's open this up, see what this looks like. So it looks like this is a scanned copy, so it may not be a particularly good one. But it does, let's see, is it the whole book? It might be. Looks like it might be the whole book. Yeah, I'll have to go pull that out to see. But that's what I recommend for ebooks, is to do something like that. That's actually a good option. There's numerous other places you can pick them up as well. Read the book out loud to yourself. There you go. You may want to talk about sometime how to better secure your internet. I know 80% of people out there use the ISP router and are wide open. Yep. While in autopilot. Yep. In the Tesla car. Yep. Personally use Bitbucket. Okay. Music PC with 10% of my music hooked up to a PA system and it's loud. First bought Testing and Temptations from Amazon. From now on, I'll buy your books only from you. Yeah, I mean, buy them wherever, honestly. But yeah. Yeah, if you pick that up and you can shoot me over a receipt when I release the new version, I'll email you a copy of the new version. Should be out in about a month or so. Let's see. Humble Bundle is good to acquire DRM-free materials. Good. Does Google own Android? Yes. Android is an open source Google project. So that doesn't mean it has all of the Google fingers all over. It doesn't have necessarily all the bad stuff by default just by merit that it's Google, because it is open source. We know what it does. We can manipulate the code. But yes, they do own the Android project. When you buy like a stock phone, like a Pixel, which is a Google stock, or a Galaxy, which is a Samsung stock, or from other companies, they can add a lot of their own things. Most of them will include the Google Play Store. That is a Google proprietary thing, and that's why when you get something like Lineage or some of the other open custom ROMs, they will not have the Google Play Store. Some of them you can add the Google Play Store if you really want it. You can add it, and of course now you have to register your device with Google, which is not too difficult. That way you can use it. But for those that are just looking to be as open source as possible, just grab F-Droid, and F-Droid will have most of the software that you will need. I'll use YouTube, Gemoto, Radio Droid, and Gradio for streaming music. Yeah. Back from the liquor store. What'd I miss? Whole lot, man. Whole lot. I don't know. I don't know when you left. Imagine giving $8 billion to Gits. Yep. 7.5 though. DRM free is a danger zone for book companies. Actually, it's not, George. Macmillan did a study with it because Macmillan is the only major corporate book publisher that does DRM free books. They did a study of it. They said fraud and theft of books was absolutely negligible, but DRM free was a better way to go for the consumer, and so Macmillan releases their books as DRM free. So it's not a danger zone. It's perceived as a danger zone, but it's not really. The only thing DRM free does, like, it's possible to break DRM on books. The problem is it's not legal, and so I don't do that, and I don't recommend people do that. And so that's, I mean, if you don't care, look it up. I'm not going to go through and teach people how to do it because it's against the law where I am, and I don't recommend that. That's why I just say buy DRM free stuff and people will eventually get the hint. Yeah, I gave everyone $1 million and you missed out. Yes, I did. Yep. I've used Scribd where you can read unlimited amount of books and audiobooks for $8.99. Yep. You can hear my audio monitoring? I'm not sure you can hear my audio monitoring necessarily because there actually is no audio monitoring on the system. I only have one input feed, but I don't know. Well, I have to listen to it and see. Yeah, I have a series of tutorials on that. I actually have a that's turned off. My other fan. I'm not going to show you right now. Oh, actually, hold on. Let me see if I can do it over here. Duh, it's not like I'm on a computer on the internet. But I actually have I have a Calibri library on my system. All right. So here, this is actually on my NAS system. I attached a book server to it. And so any of the books that I have, I can simply connect to this server inside my network and I can download any book that I have. So these are all DRM-free copy books. Of course, some of these you bought. They're DRM-free. I think the biggest example I have is probably I bought Dave Ramsey's Legacy Journey. When you pre-ordered that before it came out, he emailed you a copy of the book DRM free. So I have that in my library, which is cool. Of course, that's one of the ones I can't give out because it's not one of the free ones. But a lot of the other stuff that I have, these are all DRM free books. They are on my network server. And any device that is connected to my network can come onto the server and download books to it and to be used anywhere from the system. So this is a network run, Calibri running on a network. Of course, I manage the library more detail from an actual server system. So that's actually a pretty cool thing. I have a video tutorial about how to do this as well, which was kind of fun. And then what I do is I run a cron job every 10 minutes, and there's a folder on my NAS drive that if I get a new book, I can simply drop it in there, and every 10 minutes it will add anything that appears in that folder into this net server. Screwtape Letters in Paperback. Awesome read. Yep. Very good. Open the unlooked book. What? Most Google books are DRM'd. It actually depends. There is actually Google has actually done a lot to open source a lot of particularly older books. They've done a lot of good things, but I think most newer ones are probably going to be, you're probably right about that. Google Play Books, the books are DRM free. Download the PDF version after purchasing them. Okay, what's your favorite liquor, my friend? I don't drink. Okay. Light liquor, tequila, white rum, vodka mixed with anything easy, yeah. Are you eventually going to look at the XFCE version links Mint 19? I might. I don't know. Mystery Island, the original movie. Can't find it. Yeah. I think some of these I actually want to... I want to pull, like, so, like, for example, Orthodoxy by G.K. Chesterton. That one's, it's not an easy, the formatting isn't very good, so I kind of want to take some of these older books, reformat them a whole lot better for digital. Maybe sell them for a few cents or something for my efforts. I don't know. Sounds fun. 2 days later, well. What is it? It's about 3 o'clock. I don't know. Anything else we want to chat about? We've got some time. Got about at least another half hour. Let's see. We looked at photos. We looked at cameras. We looked at MP3 players. We looked at all kind of other sorts of stuff. Maybe we can look at a cute kitty eating some kitty treats. Kitty, kitty. Kitty, kitty, kitty. Come on. Yeah. Yeah. Oh boy. Yummy, yummy, yummies. Alright, let me reposition this camera like this. Oh boys. Yeah. We do have a double catter. I'll see if I can get the other cat up here to cooperate or not. Yeah, was that good? Come here, kitty. Come here. Gotcha. Yes, you can have some too. Okay. Aw, you dropped one. Here. It's a double catter. Yeah, there's one more down there somewhere. Oh, right there. There it is. There it is. We had a double catter. Houston, we had a double catter. All right. About the history of the cat. Oh man, the history of the cat. I have a video about the history of the cat. Of course I do. Why wouldn't I? The cat is just cute. That's the history of the cat. History of TJ the cat. Yeah, rare unpublished version. I was get woken up by the police this morning. No, I didn't. What were you doing? Any habits you've had that you're not proud of and have since quit? Nothing striking that comes to my attention. I mean, I'm always constantly thinking and evaluating, etc., etc. And so for me, it's just kind of, you know. You guys read my poetry. I don't know. Where's your poetry? I haven't read it, but where is it? That's one of the things I'm going to do probably in a couple, maybe a year or two, is I have a pretty big list of poetry. I was thinking about publishing a book of poems. All right. Meow Mix, cats and tinfoil hats. Easy versus best relates directly to Google services or Nextcloud. Yeah. All right. Well, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this guy up. So thanks for hanging out, everyone. And tomorrow will be a outdoor philosophy, and then I'll do some top 5 on Monday. I'm just not sure exactly which top 5 that's going to be yet. So we will catch you guys later. Have yourselves a wonderful evening. And I hope you enjoy switching to Linux.